Every man who has ever tried to change his life had motivation at some point. He felt it on Sunday night. He planned the new routine. He wrote the goals down. He set the alarm early. He was ready. By Wednesday, he was back on the couch. And he told himself the same thing every man tells himself. I just need to get motivated again. But that's not the problem. That was never the problem. And once you understand what I'm about to show you, you'll never wait for motivation again. The self-improvement industry has built a billion-dollar business selling you one idea. That motivation is the engine of change. Watch this video. Feel inspired. Go transform your life. But here's what they never tell you. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings leave. The man who waits to feel motivated before he acts has already made a decision. He just doesn't know it yet, because the feeling is not supposed to come before the action. It comes after. Read that again. The feeling comes after the action. This one shift changes everything. What discipline actually is? Most men picture discipline as aggression. The angry man gritting his teeth, hard knuckling his way through pain. The guy lifting heavy weights, screaming at himself in the mirror. That's not what it is. Discipline is quiet. It's the repeated act of being faithful to the man you said you would become on the days that you don't want to. Working out on days where you don't feel like it. Going on a run when the weather is bad. Staying true to your commitment, even when no one is watching. The man who misunderstands what discipline is waits for the right mood, the right week, and that waiting becomes his life. Discipline is built in 3 layers. If you skip any one of them, the whole structure collapses. Layer 1 is mechanical. Pick 3 non-negotiables, not 10, just 3. Actions that happen every single day regardless of mood. Wake up at a fixed time. Train. Read. Whatever yours are. They don't get debated each morning. They should get done. The non-negotiables are boring, but boring is what works. Layer 2 is the pause. What you do in the half-second between impulse and response. That tiny gap where you choose differently than you used to, that's where the new man is actually being built. Layer 3 is your word, the reputation you are building with yourself. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you tell your nervous system, I am the kind of man who follows through. Every time you break one, you tell it the opposite. Do this enough times in either direction, and it stops being a choice you make. It becomes the story you believe about yourself. And that determines everything. What you attempt, what you tolerate, what you think you deserve. That is why small promises matter more than big intentions. Not because the action itself is significant, but because every kept promise is a step closer to the man you want to become. Here's a story of someone who actually realized the value of discipline. David Goggins was not born disciplined. He was born into pure chaos. He had a violent father, he was raised in poverty, and he would experience racism constantly. He also had learning disabilities, which made him a target at school, and he would be humiliated. By his mid-20s, he weighed 297 pounds and spent his nights spraying cockroaches in restaurant kitchens. He'd come home, eat, watch television, and go to sleep. Nothing about his life suggested it would ever be anything else. Then one night, he came home, still in his work clothes, still smelling like pesticide. He watched a documentary about Navy SEAL training. He saw men doing the one thing he had spent his entire life engineering around, choosing suffering, deliberately, repeatedly, and that was it. Something clicked. He called a recruiter immediately. He was told he needed to lose over 100 pounds in under 3 months just to qualify. Most people would have hung up and gave up, but he didn't. He set an alarm for 4:30 a.m. for the following morning. What followed wasn't a transformation montage. It was just a man alone in the dark, doing work no one would ever witness. He rode his bike 25 miles to work each morning. He swam laps at a public pool at night. He ate almost nothing. Goggins went to SEAL training and failed. He went back, and he failed again. Then he completed Hell Week, 6 days of cold water, sleep deprivation, and relentless suffering designed to break men. He completed it 3 separate times. No one in the history of the program has done that. He didn't wait until he finally felt motivated. There was no breakthrough conversation, no perfect alignment of circumstances. He didn't wait to feel ready. He acted because he made a promise to himself. And he had decided that the cost of breaking that promise was greater than the cost of keeping it. And that's the takeaway. Most people never find out what they're made of, not because they lacked the ability, but because they kept waiting for a version of the work that didn't involve pain. The lesson. The reason I told you this story about David Goggins is because I want you to realize one thing. There is no version of your life that gets better while you keep waiting. There is no one coming to save you. Every single day you wait creates a bigger gap between who you are and who you can be. Stop wasting your time. You learned something valuable watching this video. You now know why motivation doesn't matter. You know discipline isn't a feeling. You now know the 3 layers, the non-negotiables, the pause, and your word to yourself. Now there's only one question left. What are you going to do today? If you actually decided that you want to do something about your life and you're serious about changing. I wrote an entire book around this idea and 13 other chapters exactly like it. No fluff. No inspiration porn. They're all lessons on how you can become the man you're capable of being, and stories of men from history who have gone through worse and came out on top. Link is in the description.